Hi, fourth graders. Over the past few weeks, we've been learning a number of multiplication strategies. Today, we're going to do a fast motion recap of all of the strategies that we've learned so far, including one that some of you are just starting to learn called standard algorithm. Let's go check it out. The first strategy is called repeated addition, and that's where you literally add over and over again. Let's look at 24 times 6. So that means that I'm actually going to add 24 6 times. Let's count them up, add up all my ones, add up all my tens, and I get 144. Now this strategy does get me the correct answer, but it's not very efficient. It shows I understand multiplication, but I might not be able to do it in my head. Now let's try the next one, build it with base 10. Remember those base 10 pieces that we used in class? These are plastic pieces that show units of 1, 10, and 100, and you might have used them in 3rd grade. We used online versions of these over distance learning. Now because you all don't have these at home, I'm going to draw mine using yellow and blue markers. So I start by drawing my dimensions, 24 and 6. Each of those numbers matches my factors. And I'm going to go ahead and sketch these in, and you'll see it does take me a long time, and that is the biggest critique about this strategy, just the time it takes to build it out. But I'm going to sketch in all the different pieces that fill in the area. And I know that each of these strips is worth 10. So now that I've completed all of my drawing, I add up each section, adding up my tens to get 60, and then down below, 24. I add them together, and voila, I get the same answer. Now, I do get the correct answer, and this is great for hands-on learners, but it's not very efficient. Also, a challenge with this strategy is that probably did not bring home in your backpack. This is my attempt to draw a backpack. You probably did not bring home these base 10 pieces, so it's going to be difficult to do this strategy at home. So let's move on to something else. This is where we graduated from building it to actually sketching it on grid paper, still using base 10. And let's go ahead and use my markers to sketch out the dimensions. Again, I'm using my factors to label each side. I sketch in a rectangle, and I'm filling in the area again with strips and dots for my ones. I'm going to now add up the area of each part, counting by tens to get 60, 60 again, and then counting up my ones to get 24. Putting all these parts together, I do get the correct answer, and this is also helpful if I'm a visual learner, but it also is not something that I probably have at home, and it took a long time to do. So let's go on to the next strategy. This is called quick sketch. And the benefit to this is that you can use it with whatever paper you have at home. So again, we're doing 24 times 6, but this time I'm just sketching it instead of using grid paper. I start by labeling each of my dimensions using my factors, 24 by 6. Then I'm going to switch colors to close my rectangle and split it up into parts. 24 breaks up into 10, 10, and 4. Now I'm going to multiply each part. 10 times 6 is 60. 10 times 6 is 60, and 4 times 6 is 24. I add up each of these parts, and my total, again, is 144. So this does get me the correct answer, but there's an even faster way we can do this. Let's move on to the Quick Sketch 2.0. This one is going to look exactly the same. It's just that it's a simpler version of the drawing where I'm not drawing the individual ones. And this is going to help kind of as a stepping stone to move on to the next strategy I'm going to show you. I'm just doing all the parts and getting the same answer. Now finally, the Quick Sketch 3.0. We could even call it the quicker Quick Sketch. So here we're going to do 24 times 6, but I'm just going to draw one rectangle and split it into two parts with my tens and my ones. So now I do 20 times 6. And if you can do that in your head, great. But remember our strategy where you can cover the 0 and imagine it's 2 times 6 and then pop the 0 on the end. 4 times 6 gets me 24. I put both parts together and I get the same answer, 144. So this strategy gets me the correct answer. It's getting more and more efficient the simpler we make our drawing, but it's still great for visual learners. And the best part about it is you can do it at home because you can use whatever paper you have. The key is that we want to find a strategy that is more and more efficient and that you can do at home or wherever you are. The next strategy I want to show you is called break it up. Again, we're doing 24 times 6, And the important thing about this strategy is you break up a number that might be a little bit tricky into smaller pieces so you can do it in your head. So for this one, I would break up the 24 because that's the harder number for me. I'm going to keep the other number the same. Essentially what I'm doing is breaking up 24 times 6 into 20 times 6 and 4 times 6. So smaller chunks that add up to the same thing. So let's start with the first part. 20 times 6 I can think of as 2 times 6 equals 12. And then I pop that 0 on the end. 4 times 6 is 24. And then I double check to make sure I've lined up my digits neatly so that I don't make any silly mistakes. I add them together, and this strategy works. I can get the correct answer. It's also more efficient, and I can do it in my head. I can also do it at home because I can use whatever paper I have lying around. The next strategy we're going to look at is called landmark numbers. This is a strategy you might use if you look at a problem that is a little bit tricky to do in your head, like 99 times 5. 99 is awfully close to a number that's a little bit easier for me, 100. That one I could definitely do in my head. 100 times 5 is 500. Now to change that 99 to 100, I had to add 1 5 times. So I take away that 5 that I had to add, and I get the correct answer. Now let's try this strategy out with the work problem we've been using throughout this video, 24 times 6. Now 24 is awfully close to 25, which is an easier number for me to do in my head because it's similar to money. So 25, 50, 75, $1, 125, 150. I'll write my answer here, but remember that my actual problem 24 times 6, I had to change a little bit. So to get from 24 to 25, I had to add 1. I did that 6 times. So I take away the additional 6 that I added, and I get to 144. You guys, it's the same answer. So this strategy works, but it's all about whether you can do it in your head. This strategy tends to be harder for me, but maybe it works for you and your brain. Yes, that's my attempt to draw a brain. So ask yourself, do I like this strategy? Does it click for me? The final strategy that we are going to look at in this video is called standard algorithm. This is the one that probably your parents learned, and that Maestra Julia at least learned exclusively in school. I didn't learn any of these other ones, and I'm having trouble spelling standard algorithm. Hee hee. So, standard algorithm is when you stack your numbers vertically. I start by multiplying my ones. So, 6 times 4 is 24. I put my ones down below and carry the 2. 6 times 2 is 12, 13, 14, and I get 144, the correct answer. Now, though this strategy works, it might be tricky for you to do in your head because we have to carry numbers and keep track of them, but it's all about you. I do love that you can do this strategy with big numbers, but it's also not the only one. Let's go back to one of the strategies we looked at before, this time with bigger numbers. Let's start with break it up, looking at a bigger number of 3 digits, like 365 times 6. Again, I'm going to break it up, but this time because there's 3 digits, I'm breaking it up into 3 parts. 300 times 6, I cover up my zeros and pop them on the end. Then I do 60 times 6, cover up that 0, I get 36, and pop the 0. And then 5 times 6 is 30. I stack my digits neatly so that I don't make any silly mistakes, add them all together, and it's the same strategy. It works. I got 2,190. Now let's look at that same problem, but using the strategy of quick sketch. Some of you like this strategy and want to prove that you can use it even with bigger numbers. So 365 times 6, I'm going to sketch one big rectangle. I put my 6 on one side, but because there's 3 digits, I'm going to break it up into 3 parts. 300, 60, and 5. Now again, I'm going to multiply each part out, popping my zeros, figuring out each component, and then adding them together. Be careful to stack my numbers neatly, and starting at adding the ones and moving over to the left. And I get the same answer as I did with the break it up strategy. It's all about which one you like the best. And if I solve it in 2 different ways, I can check my work. Now let's go back to the standard algorithm strategy, this time looking at a bigger number. We're going to do 365 times 6, but remember with standard algorithm, you have to stack them vertically. I start by multiplying my ones. 6 times 5 is 30, so I put my 0 down below and carry the 3. 6 times 6 is 36, 7, 8, 9. So 39. Put the 9 below and carry the 3. 6 times 3 is 18, 19, 20, 21. You guys, we got the same answer. So we've proven that each of these strategies work. It's all about which one you prefer. Now, a standard algorithm is definitely efficient, but it's a little bit trickier to do in your head or without paper. My personal favorite is the break it up strategy. I use this one all the time at the grocery store or doing problems in my head, but it's all about you. Which one do you like? Which one is the best based on the situation and the type of problem that you're facing? Each of these has their pros and cons. I hope this video helped you remember all the strategies that we learned in class. And keep in mind, if this felt a little fast, your teacher will remember to review these with you over your small groups in the next few weeks. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye.